Hello everybody. Today we're going to learn about procedures in App Inventor, and this is going to be part one of a two-part procedure video. So what a procedure is say you want to run a bit of instructions or code multiple times in your app. So for example, you have 5 buttons and they all do the same thing. You don't want to have to copy and paste all those blocks if you have a lot of things you're going to do. You don't want to have every single button click have all of that code in there, because it will get really crowded and annoying. You should only have to write that code out once. And so a procedure is basically going to wrap around that code, and then whenever you click a button, you will just do those set of instructions. This is also really useful for if you want to do the same thing multiple times but with slightly different variables or numbers in them, then you can do that as well. So it may sound a little confusing at first, but it's actually really simple, and we'll show you how it's done. So we're going to make an app where you type in a number and then you click a button to either double, triple, or quadruple that number, and then it will put the result in a label. So the first thing we're going to do is go down to screen arrangement and grab 2 horizontal arrangements and put them on the screen. In the first one, we're going to put a text box and a label. And we're going to name the text box, we're going to go down here and click rename, which renames the component in our blocks editor, and we're going to call it input text box. And for the label, we're going to rename it and call it result label. And the text for this label will just say number. It will be replaced by the number that we calculate. So now in this horizontal arrangement, we're going to grab 3 buttons, and notice how they all go off the screen. So if you've ever experimented with screen layout, what you have to do is click each button, scroll down here to width, and click fill parent. And then we have to hit OK. Hit fill parent on this width, and fill parent on this width. So every button now is fill parent, and then we click on the horizontal arrangement and make that fill parent. And that should click all the buttons together. So now they're all evenly spaced, and they all fit in the screen. So we're going to call button 1, we're going to go down to rename, call it double button. Button 2 we will call triple button. And button 3 we will call quadruple button. Now under double button, we're going to make the text for it say double. And triple, we will make say triple. And quadruple, we will make say quadruple. Okay, now our layout is done. So now we're going to click up here to open the blocks editor. Mine is already open. So we're going to go here. And now we're going to go into my blocks. So here are all the blocks that we just created. These we won't need to do anything with right now, or ever. They're just arrangements for our components. So what we're going to do is say, when you click the double button, we're going to want to double it. And when you click the triple button, you're going to want to triple it. And when you click quadruple button, you want to quadruple it. So normally what you would do is you would say, okay, I have my input text box. I want to get the number from my input text box and multiply it by 2 for the double. So we'll get out a math multiplication component, and we'll say whatever's in that text box times the number 2, and then we want to set the result label to that value. So we will say set result label.text to whatever you typed in times 2. And now for the triple button and quadruple button, they're very simple, or similar. So I'm going to do Command C on this block, and then Command V to paste. So this is exactly the same thing, except it multiplies by 3. And this is exactly the same thing as set to multiplies by 4. And now we can connect to our device. If you don't have an emulator open, you will click New Emulator, and then it'll take a little bit to start up. It'll bring you to a lock screen, and then you can unlock it, and then once it's unlocked, you're ready to connect through here. Okay, so we're going to type in a number, say 3, and then we'll hit double, and we get 6. And then we'll hit triple, we get 9, and quadruple, we get 12. So everything's working. So this will work, but notice how every single instruction in here is pretty much the same thing. The only thing that is different is this 2, 3, or 4. So what we want to do is make a procedure that will run this code for us. So to do this, we have to go into definition and then procedure. So what we want our procedure to do is set the result label to whatever we typed in times some number. And we don't know what that number is because it varies. If you click double button, you need to multiply by 2. If you click triple button, you need to multiply by 3. If you click quadruple button, you need to multiply by 4. So to make this work, we have to have some number in here that is variable and depends on the situation. So normally what you will do is, under my definitions, you can call that procedure. So if we have the number 2 here, and we won't need these anymore. Now they are all going to call our procedure. So I'm going to copy and paste this. So each button will call that procedure. And right now all that procedure does is multiply by 2. But we want to multiply by 3 and 4 depending on what the situation is. So for that we're going to need an argument. And to do that we need to go get a name. So name and variable have subtle differences. A variable is something that you're going to set a value of in your program and be able to change it. But a name of something, a name component, means that you are giving it a value, you're giving this procedure a value that it can use for something. So these can only be seen by your procedure. So notice that now all these procedures have a name slot. We're going to call this name number. So now all these procedures are looking for a number. And if we rename this procedure multiply, it should become more clear what's going on. We want to multiply, let's call it multiply by. So we want to multiply by, and then we give it the number to multiply by. So let's give it the number 2. Now we'll be multiplying by the number 2, but for that to happen we need to use our number. So we are giving this procedure the number 2. We say I want to do everything in here, but every time you see number replace it with 2. So to get that name out we have to go into my blocks and my definitions, and then we get the value number. So you will see name when you give the function, or you give the procedure a number, and that thing has a name. So in this case we have the number 2, and its name is number. Now whenever we want to use that value, we have to use the value number. So now we will just set the label text to whatever you typed in times the number that you gave us. So now we can just say multiply by 2, multiply by 3, and multiply by 4. And this will do exactly the same thing as before, but we are now reusing our code more efficiently. So if we go back to our emulator and just restart the emulation just to show that it is indeed working. We'll type in 5, hit double, we get 10, triple, 15, and quadruple 20. So that was part one of our procedures video. The second part will go into slightly more complicated procedures, but really they're still the same thing. They just execute a block of code with some variables, which are called arguments. So we can give it as many different numbers as we want, and we can do the same bit of code but in slightly different ways. So see you at part two.